Hey folks, my name is Craig Lawrence. I put the guy in FightGuy Photography. I've gotten a wonderful chance to spend the last 7 days testing out Canon's new EOS R mirrorless camera body. This is their first full frame camera, and I'm putting a little video together to talk about how it went and what I thought and what I think I will do from here on. My usual go-to camera is the Canon 7D Mark II, which I think at this point is 2-3 years old now. It's a crop sensor camera designed for sport shooting because I do a lot of workshops, I do a lot of live events. That's my go-to camera. The question has become recently, like, where do we go from here? Do we want to step it up? Do we want to change things around? Are we looking to go mirrorless? Are we looking to go up to the 5D line? Look at the 6D Mark II. So when we were looking at our options moving forward, obviously the full frame EOS R mirrorless caught my eye. We rented from Lens Rentals, which is my go-to place. They've taken really good care of us in the past. We've rented many lenses and camera bodies over the last 5 years from them. Anytime we've had a problem, they've helped us out. Anytime we've had questions, they've answered them. I highly recommend them. Lens Rentals, I'll put a link here-ish. So from them, we rented the EOS R mirrorless body and the adapter that has a drop-in ND filter, which is great. It's a very clever, cool thing that Canon did. They made an adapter with a slot in it, and you can drop in an ND filter, a clear filter, or a circular polarized filter, I believe. And then even cooler, this ND filter is variable with a little wheel right here, make things darker, make things lighter. Great for shooting outdoors and super bright light. Not particularly useful in studio, I discovered. This wheel is really easy to bump, and it tends to suddenly make things darker on you. And you go, oh, what's going on here? Did I do this? Did I do that? Looking at the back of the camera, looking at the lights, looking at the exposure, looking at your settings, and really all you did was brush up against this little wheel. Something to keep in mind. Perhaps a locking mechanism here, a little push and turn would be nice. But overall, it's fine. It connects all of my lenses, including my fancy red dot lenses or my less fancy crop sensor cameras with lenses, which I actually don't have any in front of me right now, so I can't hold that up. But I did try my wide angle lens on this, and that is a EFS lens, so it's meant for crop sensor cameras. This will convert both, which is very cool, and definitely a plus if we decide to go with this camera body, knowing that all my lenses will still work on a full frame body, unlike with the 5D or the 6D line. So we got the camera in on Monday. The Canon EOS R body is as expected. It has fewer buttons on it. It's much smaller than the Canon 7D Mark II or the 5D Mark IV. The first thing I noticed that frustrates me, that I don't like, is that on the back, there is less to work with. The 7D has a little joystick right here. It has a spinny wheel. It has a button thing. It has a little arrow thing. There's all kinds of little buttons. There's a whole row of buttons down this side. And I've set them all. All of them on my camera body are set a certain way so that I can get where I need to go very quickly. This was a challenge for me. The buttons are fewer and in very different places. So my hand placement's different. There's a lot of checking to see where I am and what I need to do. There's also a little slidey option here, which I've played with a bunch, and I don't know if it's not working right or even what it's supposed to do. It feels like a touch sensor button to go one way or the other. I've tried it with a couple of settings, and honestly, I didn't get it to do what I wanted it to do. What I wanted was to replace the joystick option that's on the 7D and be able to slide around the focus point with it. But it doesn't do that, or I can't get it to do that. So that's definitely a negative for me. The second thing is when holding the camera proper, if I'm holding it so my finger is comfortably on the shutter, the bottom of my hand has nothing to grab. There's nothing here for my pinky to wrap around. And if I scooch up so my pinky has a safe grip, suddenly I'm overreaching my shutter. So there's some ergonomics there that I'm not crazy about. They do make an extension that you can slap on the bottom of this, and they make it in colors so it can be really fancy looking. And it's really neat. But it's an extra $90 on top of a $2,000 camera body, and I'm not sure I want to spend that. On the plus side, flip out screen is nice. I do appreciate that. It's not on the 7D Mark II, and I'm actually not sure if it's on the 5D line or not. But flip out screen's nice. If you want to shoot at funny angles or if you're doing video, it's really helpful there. My cats are chasing each other for the first time all day. Anyway, so some pluses, some minuses. The new little scroll wheel here for mode or for in manual, it affects the aperture. Not crazy about it. It's fine. It's just not as nice as the wheel that used to be down here. We can roll one way, roll the other way. I miss the wheel. I'd rather that be that way. Don't make me come over there. So ergonomics and feel aside, once we got our hands on it and got everything set up, we went to the studio and we shot with our friend Lexi Haddad. She's one of our returning models. She's actually right there. This is from a Ren Fair shoot we did with her 3 or 4 years ago. It's a great photo. She's a good friend, lovely model. The goal was to get this camera in the studio, see how it worked, see what the difference between the 7D Mark II was and this camera in that setting. And then the little goal, minor goal, was to do some like frozen motion capture bits. Overall, it did fine. After that, on Tuesday, we tried to do a location shoot at Hex Bar in DC. Really nice place. Check it out. I'll put a link either right here or down below in the description. We shot with our friend Nikisha, who's actually right here. This is from a studio shoot we did with her last year, I think. Yeah. Another great model. We love working with her. And so we got to try out the strobist aspects of this. On-camera flash or an off-camera flash with a unit linking the two, for those of you who aren't familiar with strobist. Then we were back in the studio on Wednesday, shooting with Neka, our friend Neka Wright. We haven't had a chance to shoot with her before, and we really wanted to get a chance to, so again, back to the studio. The goal there was to play with a little more dramatic lighting, see how we did with focusing and low lighting and changing things around. Thursday was the 4th of July. Did some fireworks photos. Next up on Friday, we went to Wolf Trap. We were meeting some friends there. They were doing Harry Potter in the park with a live orchestra, which was pretty cool. I gotta say, I haven't been to the live orchestra things before now, and I really liked them. But I got to do some natural light shooting while we were waiting for the show to start. So to review, Monday was the studio with Lexi. Tuesday was the Hex Bar with Nikisha. Wednesday was the studio with Neka. Thursday was fireworks, because 4th of July. Friday, Harry Potter in the park. And then Saturday, we went back to the studio to shoot with our friend Maggie to do an Arcana shoot. If you haven't checked out our Arcana series, you should, because those are pretty good. Again, just putting the camera through its places and trying to see how it functioned in the different ways that we would use it. The only thing we didn't get to try was shooting a live event with it. During this whole row of shoots, we used a bunch of lenses. I got to use my standard walk-around lens, the Canon 24-105 f4. It's my favorite lens. I use it all the time. It's phenomenal. We also got to use 85mm 1.8 and our 50 1.4 and my older telephoto lens 75-300 5.6 to 4 to 5.6. Generally speaking, good stuff from each lens. Some trouble focusing, mostly in studio, using the 24-105 mid-range and the telephoto, struggling to get the camera to focus. Some of that is me trying to dance around the points and having to take the camera away from my face and poke the screen so to move the focus point around. But I think part of it is just me waiting. I had the focus point set and I sat and I waited for the focus. Which didn't happen. We missed a couple of our freeze the action shots. The floof the dress and poof. We missed all those. We had to do a whole bunch of extras because the camera just wasn't focusing. Now, that could be a transitionary thing between older lens through the adapter into the newer camera body, or could be the camera body just not being great at focusing. That was why I went with the 7D Mark II over the 6D back in the day, because I struggled with the 6D to get it to focus. Did not struggle with 7D Mark II. To this day, never struggle with the 7D Mark II to focus. The crop sensor is worth it if focus points are crisp and clean at every event we shoot. That's a big sticking point for me. If this camera is going to be persnickety about focusing, not sure I can commit to it. How did it do? That's ultimately the question. Things changed as the week went by. Each day I tried to tweak the settings a little better. I went into the menus and I scrolled through them and I made some changes. There was a big switch over between Wednesday and Friday. I did something, and I honestly wish I could tell you what I did. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I spent most of the shoots looking at the word busy. See, in a mirrorless camera, you have an electronic viewfinder here. So essentially you're getting a little mini screen above your screen. We put a screen above your screen so you can look at a screen instead of looking at your screen. And that means that when I click, I get a preview of the photo I just took in the viewfinder. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, it was preceded by the word busy. Click, busy. Preview, back to live shooting. That was every single shot, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't know what I changed on Thursday. I was making adjustments so I could see the fireworks a little better. I changed something, and on Friday, Saturday, suddenly it was going click, 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 and shooting like a regular DSLR would. The only things that were missing, if I didn't click through the next shot, was it would still give me that preview. But I could skip it by just clicking through the next shot. I wish I could tell you what I changed, because I don't know. If you'd asked me on Wednesday if I was going to buy this camera, I would have said absolutely not, because the time it took to take a photo was maddening. It was such a pause, and it slowed down the way I work in the studio so much. We probably took about a third as many photos as we normally would in a 2-hour shoot, which isn't great. Not happy. We just ran out of time because we're sitting there waiting for the camera to do its thing. And it's not an issue of shooting in RAW or shooting in large file format, because I switched it back to all that on Saturday. Worked just fine. Still clicked through very quickly. It wasn't a matter of the dual pixel focus, because I switched that back on. Still worked fine. Something I changed and didn't change back affected the speed of the shoot. Now looking at it, having shot with it Friday, Saturday, maybe I might purchase this camera. I don't know. So how'd the photos come out? That's the obvious next question. Good, really good. Photos are crisp and clean and sharp. Good dynamic range. I'm happy with how they turned out. The ones that didn't turn out so good, probably on me, honestly. A lot of the settings are a little different. Shooting with a full frame camera is different than shooting with a crop sensor camera in terms of focal length, in terms of depth of field. And I'm not sure, maybe the adapter plays some part in that. In any event, the photos look really good. I'm very happy with how they turned out. I got some amazing stuff from working with some amazing people this week. And part of it is because of this camera. So ultimately, what are my final thoughts? Well, that's a good question. Am I going to buy this camera? Maybe, probably. Bit of an asterisk in there. Ultimately, what it comes down to is that the photos we took are great. The image quality is great. Once we got the kinks worked out on the settings, there's really nothing about this camera that can't be solved for me with either an accessory or with a change of settings. And that's good. What it comes down to, ultimately, are the photos good? The photos are good. And the more I look at them, the more I edit them, the more I put up online, they look really good. The photos are crisp and clean, and the camera got to a place where it was really easy to work with. Ultimately, right now, I don't think we have the money to invest in a new camera body. But yeah, I'm definitely liking what I'm seeing with the Canon EOS R. It's a great little camera, and it works really well. If we suddenly have a rough flush of money, great. I'll probably pick it up. Ultimately, for me, what I'll end up doing is buying camera body, grip extender, and the adapter, and then going from there. The EOS R lenses are still really pricey, so I'm probably going to rely heavily on the adapter if I do end up getting this body, but as tests have shown this week, it works really well. Anyway, so if you're looking to buy a mirrorless body, you could do a lot worse than the Canon EOS R. I heard a lot of things about it, but I'm pretty happy with it. The photos are good, and once you get the settings right, the camera will shoot pretty quickly. It's not terribly difficult to use. It's not hugely problematic. It has fewer buttons. The transition from a 7D Mark II to the Canon EOS R is a little frustrating, but overall, good photos. Any questions, comments, you can leave them below. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and Patreon at FightGuy Photo, all one word. If you want to support our work, you want to see more videos, you want to see more of us taking photos of cool things, sign up for our Patreon. Link is below. Help us out. It really helps us defray the costs of these artistic fun shoots that we do. So that's it. That's my quick product review of the Canon EOS R. Links below, as I said a moment ago. And any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll see y'all next time. Sleepy. Sleepy. Hey, don't lie there. Actually, that's probably a good place to lie. You can stay there if you want. Yeah, okay.
She's not in the shot at all.
She's not in the shot. She can stay there, I guess, as long as her tail doesn't flip across the camera. Oh, now we're getting ears.
She's like, what the fuck, Dad?
Hey, cut it.
You're not going to use this one?